So by now you possibly already watched a bunch of Ronin RS2 videos and maybe a couple of Komodo videos. So how about we just throw these two together for some unique, innovative content? And before we jump into it, let's start with a footage sequence as always. Let's go. It happened again. After cameras and lenses, gimbals are the next thing I'm geeking out on. And when DJI announced a new Ronin RS2 about a week ago, I just blindly ordered it in hope it would work with my Komodo. From what I have read, after I click the buy now button, is that the RS2 promises to be a real upgrade from the original Ronin S. So in this video we will explore if I made an absolutely stupid impulse buy or if it's actually a good gimbal for Red's mini cinema camera, and specifically what you need to consider when flying the Komodo on this gimbal. Let's f***ing do it! Can I swear on this channel? I'm just gonna bleep it out. So let me get the obvious and clear out of the way real quick, and then we deep dive a little bit into the real innovations and see how they work with the Komodo. What stands out first, it's significantly smaller. If you compare it here side by side, it becomes even more obvious when you look at the carrying cases, and it will be so much easier to travel with the RS2 than it is with the original one whenever we can travel again. Travel. It's also significantly lighter than its predecessor, and that's thanks to these carbon fiber arms that are not only looking really sick and premium, but also reduce the weight, and it's a first for one-hand gimbal as far as I know, and they adopted it from its bigger brother, the Ronin 2. But despite these design changes, thanks to stronger motors, the payload actually increased to 10 pounds, 4.5 kilos, which is important when flying the Komodo and Cine lenses on it, but we will get to this in a second. The RS2 also now has fast charging, so in 1.5 hours you get a full 12-hour load. And also, little design change here, this little knob here allows you to easily move the cheese plate back and forth, which is absolutely groundbreaking. That was seriously super helpful. Also very helpful, look how this gimbal is always flopping around while traveling or when calibrating or when you're balancing. Finally, DJI caught on implementing also locks on these axes here. Very welcome improvement, but you know, like, it's standard these days. These carbon fiber arms are Teflon coated, so you can much easier slide them back and forth when you're balancing. I'm not a big fan of Teflon because it's a forever plastic. If you watch Dark Waters, you know what I mean. Good movie, check it out. Another thing that jumps right in your eye is that this gimbal has now a touch screen, which the Ronin S didn't have at all. It has 3 little lights. Wow. You can now set up and change settings right on this display, and as gimbals are getting more complex and capable, this is a really good improvement because there's so many things you can change. You don't need your app anymore. And if you have the RavenEye system, you can even transmit an image from your camera onto this little display. But now you may be wondering, what the f is RavenEye? Alright, I'm out here now with Alex, amazing photographer. I will link the Instagram right here, but let's talk about the RavenEye. So the RavenEye is a video transmission system that is actually integrated with the Ronin RS2, and it allows you basically to send a signal right from your camera to a device of your choosing. Let's wait this. So I've been always very impressed by DJI's ActiveTrack features that they have in their drones, and RavenEye now brings that feature to your camera. Basically, you can just put a box around your subject and then okay, there is no subject here, but then the system just like follows it as you just move around. They brought this system actually on the Ronin SC already, but you had to mount basically your phone up top, and then it used your phone's camera. It was very cumbersome and not super accurate, because it's a different angle, but now it's like tapping into the video signal that it gets from the RavenEye. And this actually works perfectly when you have autofocus lenses with a Komodo, because then you can just like really focus on getting your shot and tracking around a subject. How to get it actually working on a Komodo is that you need a SDI to HDMI converter. I have the Blackmagic mini converter here, and it's powered through that USB cable here, and it allows me to tap into the signal right away. It's great for running gun filmmakers like myself, but I think also for bare bones productions, you can really get a lot out of this. There's another feature, it's called Force Mobile, where you just can use your phone or your tablet to basically navigate the gimbal with your mobile device. So let's check out some shots that we shot with this ActiveTrack feature. So as a Komodo user, you possibly use a lot of Cine lenses, which are absolutely manual, don't have any autofocus, which generally comes in very handy on a gimbal. So what do? You buy the RS2 Pro combo, which comes then with a focus motor here, and it's also significantly smaller and lighter than the focus motor that you could buy with the original Ronin. The focus wheel is actually here right at your index finger up front and not clunky on the side here, like here on the side. I don't know how you're supposed to do it with one hand, because you always want to have second hand on your grip. It's much better up front here. DJI will also release a new system called 3D Focus, which leverages LiDAR technology to measure the distance between your camera and your subject, and then can turn, with the help of this focus motor, your camera into an autofocus, like any manual lens into an autofocus lens, which sounds too good to be true. I'm intrigued, I want to try it out, and once I have my hands on it, I will update you on this channel as well how it works. Cool. And talking about things that I don't have, DJI is also releasing a base mount system. So if you want to use this gimbal on a car rig, on a crane, you want to look into this. And also Tilda built out a full ecosystem of accessories for this gimbal to operationalize the RS2 for professional use. And it looks absolutely insane. I wish I could try it out and get my hands on it. Tilda, if you're watching this, my email is in the description below. And then there's another new feature called SuperSmooth, and that's designed to help when you shoot with longer focal lengths. So we're throwing the 50 to 135 Fujinon MK on, and all you have to do for that is also put this little lens support mount with a strap on and switch on the SuperSmooth mode, and it's supposed to give you more stabilization when shooting with longer focal lengths. So let's test out how that actually works in combination with the ActiveTrack, because it's very hard to keep track when you're shooting with a longer focal length yourself. So let's see how it goes. See that? It's like just starts shaking its head basically. Alright, so now having tried the RS2 and Komodo combo for a couple of days, it is time for an evaluation of this combo. And if you can't tell by the change of clothes throughout this video, Chicago's weather is rather erratic these days. But let's start with the positive things. I think the weight and the size is certainly something it shares with the Komodo as well, and is actually such a great benefit, especially when it comes to traveling. And also you want to think about the center of gravity, very much changed. It's a much more compact gimbal now, so the lift that you have to do with your arms and your muscle power is actually also reduced. And then of course the RavenEye system, which really opens up loads of new opportunities, especially for single operators like myself, and if you want to track a subject or film yourself like we're doing right now. But that also brings me to an area of improvement, because as mentioned, the RavenEye system has an HDMI port and the Komodo has an SDI port, so you need to go this work around with an SDI converter. It's a little clunky, but it's working at least. But I wish Red and DJI were talking and could integrate the Komodo's Wi-Fi control and the Ronin's ActiveTrack. Maybe that's an idea for the future, because right now, if you have just one mobile device, you could only connect to either or and not both at the same time, because both are working off Wi-Fi. And then working with long lenses is also a little bit tricky, because you get sometimes these little micro jitters when you look really zoomed in, and that's possibly something that you can remove thanks to the global shutter the Komodo is carrying in post through stabilization. But also what I noticed is that sometimes it just starts shaking its head. It's like going just back and forth, and that's really, really annoying and cannot be removed. On the other side also, the RavenEye system I noticed is not really working beyond 50 millimeters, something to keep in mind. And that brings us to lens choices, and let's turn the other way, because otherwise I don't want anyone to puke. But you have to definitely keep in mind that heavier and physically longer lenses may run into some mobility issues, so especially the tilt up might be limited. My Tokina 11-20 just barely works with counterweights. I'm actually using the U-Rig counterweights for the Ronin S. You can find them on Adorama. Loads of people are asking about it. But that's definitely a limitation. When it comes to the Fujinon MKs, they are too long. They're too long in order to provide you with full motion, even with counterweight. So there you can't go, for example, into underslung mode, but that's something to keep in mind as you think about your lens choices. So overall, this gimbal is obviously not a fit for every single Komodo shooter, but I think especially for wedding filmmakers, documentary filmmakers, folks who are out and about shooting in nature, this might be a good solution given its lightweight and capabilities in terms of automation, especially when the 3D focus system comes and you can use it with Cine lenses. So would you use this gimbal in a big budget production? Of course not, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is to show you these images of the drone setup and a monster gimbal that they're using on the Batman production here in Chicago that I saw right in front of my door last night here. They really just shot an empty street with it, so my suspicion is that they're using this as a plate for some CGI. But if anyone knows what they were doing with this, please let us know down in the comment section. We're curious. Alright, so under the bottom line, and you've guessed it possibly by now, I really dig this combination of Red Komodo and Ronin RS2. It was not a stupid purchasing decision, and now I'm getting dizzy. But if you enjoyed this video, hello, here's where I am. If you have any questions about this combo, please let me know down in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider smashing that like button, and if you haven't joined us yet, subscribe and hit that notification bell. There is so much more coming. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Have a good morning, have a good night, whenever and wherever you are around this beautiful, beautiful planet. Let's go, bye. Hey, stop. Until I got the... Test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Are you allowed to say that these days? Generally, a lot, or not. Whew, is that it?